I'm ready to rock. Let's do this. Instagram is being notified. People are being notified. We're 3 minutes in, so hopefully, if you're catching the beginning of this, then you're wise enough to skip ahead. All right, people on Instagram are joining. Thank you and welcome. People on Instagram. I'm also live on YouTube, so I have YouTube happening. I have Instagram happening. I was hoping to do Facebook too, but it's a whole other thing. Once I get actually good at this and I know what the hell I'm doing, the plan is to do Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram all live, and people can interact with the 3 different platforms, and I'll just chat about anything with you guys. I want to do this regularly. And basically what I had planned today was to actually, I have this dope new camera, which I thought I was going to be able to use today, but it's a long story. I plugged it in. I was hoping that I could use it for YouTube, but YouTube didn't pick it up, so I don't have this now. So it's just phone and webcam, OG, old school, Stone Age stuff. And once I get good at it, we'll see where this goes. So welcome people trickling in on Instagram. Hello, Varun. Hello, Jay. Hello, Shishir. Hello, Nana. Hello, William. Hello, Manasawi on YouTube. Hello, Dark Jedi. And let's get going. Manasawi says, by the way, I was listening to Churros. You and Diego should do like an NBA game commentary. I was laughing my ass off when I heard Diego's commentary. You, on the other hand, are mellow as fuck. That's what I do. I think Diego would be like the play-by-play announcer, just hitting you hard constantly every 10 seconds with stuff. And I'd just be like the wise guy sitting next to him, the color commentator. I'm like, yes, the half space. The high press resistancy. That would be my contribution, I think. Welcome everyone trickling in. Nice to see you all. Dark Jedi says, how deep is your analysis on Femenino's team? Me personally, not that great. I really watch just highlights for now. But if you know our work, you know that we have a whole team dedicated to this between Om and Grant. Those are the 2 main pillars, but also sporadically Raquel, who actually attends Real Madrid Femenino games when there is no pandemic, and hopefully in the future she'll attend things as press for managing Madrid, which she was attending Tacona's press. She lives in Madrid. And then there's also Jess, who trickles in, and Gabe Lesra. They release a podcast after every game. They do everything from player ratings, immediate reaction, and they're working on a big story right now, which I'm part of the team. So if you want coverage, it's not me personally, but it is the managing Madrid team. That's why I always say the managing Madrid team, like bias aside, is the best. You don't get that kind of value anywhere else in English. There are good things happening in Spanish. But I don't know if they're necessarily Real Madrid focus. There's also a great German website and it's run by a friend of mine, Nils Kern. But in English specifically, like everything from Casius to the women's team to tactics to previews to hitting news to analysis, podcasts, all that stuff, I'm just really proud of the team. No bias there. I genuinely think like one-stop shop, the value we get is you guys get is amazing. All right, so thanks for everyone coming into this live video. A lot of comments about Diego. That's a name that triggers people, I think. So anytime some people are asking for an Om and Diego face-off, I don't know how that would go. I honestly, I've never seen a really vicious side of Om on podcasts anyway, but he is on a debate team. He has done debates, so get in the ring with him at your own peril. Diego and Matt collab, sure, why not? By the way, if you're watching this on Instagram, you can also watch this on YouTube. But if you're watching this on Instagram specifically, you can actually request to join the live video, and I will bring you in, and you can get in the ring with me. And it's not that scary, trust me. So I just want to also kind of keep you guys up to date on what we're doing here. The site is blowing up. The podcast is blowing up, and I wanted to share how excited I am with you And Lucas and I recorded a mailbag today that was super fun, and I really enjoyed it, and I think Lucas did too. Maybe it was because we hadn't done it in about 3 weeks, but we answered questions, everything from Modric's place in all-time central midfielders, how he ranks to Xavi and Iniesta, both in peak, both in longevity. What happens if you swap the places of Modric and Xavi, and kind of Xavi takes over the Croatia team in that World Cup? We talked about Benzema's legacy, rank among Real Madrid strikers, Benzema versus Raul. We talked about Alaba. We talked about Mbappe. We talked about hypotheticals. We talked about transfers history. We talked about the European Super League. We talked about God knows what else. So we had a lot of fun. So that's on patreon.com/managingmadrid. So make sure you go and get access to all of our podcasts. We also have podcasts on Tuesday too that Matt and I recorded. Somebody's saying, I don't want to join because I have an ugly mug. I don't know what to tell you. Looks mean nothing. You're probably better looking than you think. There is somebody who's requesting to join. It's a question. Oh, people can actually submit questions. Someone says, is Pogba worthy? Can you guys see that? Let me know if you can actually see the question that I'm answering right now. It says, is Pogba worthy? Worthy of what? I don't know. Is he worthy of playing football? Yeah, probably. Ali Amir Naimi on YouTube says, what would we do if Benzema goes to jail for the sex tape case? So I don't want to comment on this tonight, just because it's not something I really want to do. So let's take a request. Unfortunately for the people on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you won't be able to see this request that I'm about to bring on Instagram. But maybe you'll be able to hear it. Connecting with somebody right now. Hey!
How are you, man?
I'm good. Yourself?
Good. I'm from Australia. I'm a big fan of the podcast, also on Patreon. So, yeah.
My man. I appreciate you. Thank you. What's your name?
Nathan. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And where in Aussie are you from?
I'm from Sydney, Australia.
Cool.
Big fan of Madrid, of course.
Yeah.
I had a question about, I had a hypothetical. So, in an alternate universe, do you think if Ronaldo never left, Marcelo wouldn't have declined so fast, since they have such a strong connection on the left flank?
That's,
I think, yeah.
That's an interesting one. I think the reason why it's so, there's Marcelo who declined, right? But if you look at the year Ronaldo left, how many players declined? Almost the whole team did. You're talking about like, there was a combination of things. There was that World Cup hangover where almost everyone who returned from the World Cup just was a shadow of themselves, whether it was Varane. Modric took like 3/4 of a season to kind of hit his stride after the World Cup, after an incredible World Cup run. Marcelo was in that boat. Marcelo, just kind of, I mean, the thing with Marcelo was, right, defensively, he was always suspect. But when he loses his offense, that's it. He's toast. I think probably the only one who didn't decline, maybe Benzema and Ramos. So I think it's possible that may have been a factor. Nathan, I would also say, like, what does Ronaldo bring you, right? He brings you mental security. He brings you mental fortitude. He brings you assurance, that alphaness, that, you feel confident going into battle. You lose that. It's the same way that the team looks right now without Sergio Ramos, right? Without a leader, without balls. Like, I think the thing with Ronaldo is perhaps an underrated factor on him, although I do see a lot of people mentioning it, is that it's like when he's on the field, each player just grows a set of balls. Like a third ball just pops out of the shorts, you know what I mean? And it's like that, the cojones factor of that, like with him in the team, is huge. And I, whether it was, I think so, like once we lost on the left wing, Marcelo lost someone, that synergy, right? That synergy with somebody on the left wing to kind of terrorize defenders with. I think your point is extremely valid. I think it I'm sure it made a difference. I'm sure it not only made a difference in Marcelo's maybe confidence, but the whole team. But, I don't know if that's necessarily an excuse with him, because that whole left side with Cruz and, with Isco in the past and Marcelo and Benzema, that was one of the greatest left-hand sides of this generation. Like, just the way they combined with each other. And some of those games reminded me of how, like, back in the day, Roberto Carlos and Raul and Zidane, the left side would just do anything they wanted to. Sure. I mean, you lose a piece, plus you factor in age and decline the other way. I'm sure it made a difference. So, like, if your question is what would have happened if Ronaldo stayed, I don't know, but I don't think it would have been as bad as it is now. Obviously, that goes without saying. I don't know necessarily if all the solutions the problems would have been solved either. If you look at that last Real Madrid Ronaldo year, he was great, but the team was 17 points behind Barca. They had their issues. The issues started even with Ronaldo. So I think it's an interesting point to bring up regardless, actually, Nathan. I don't know if anyone actually has brought up that point before. You just said I've never heard that point. It's interesting.
Yeah. I've noticed that, like, ever since he left, there was a massive decline. I remember there was an article saying in the tunnel of the Champions League final in 2018, I think Ronaldo told Marcelo that he was leaving.
Yeah.
And apparently Marcelo was, like, really shocked right before the game. So
yeah. Weird timing. That whole thing. It was all weird, right? Because I just remember, if you remember that high, because it's like Gareth Bale scores the bicycle kick, and then the final whistle blows later on, and it's just like deliriousness. Like, it's just, we're on a high, and then all of a sudden the back-to-back quotes from Ronaldo and Bale, and you're just like, come on, can you just at least wait till the next day to say something? But yeah, I mean, it's
exactly.
Yeah, it's a valid point. I never discount the mental side of this, and I think losing Ronaldo was a huge loss mentally. Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
You holding up okay in Sydney? Everything's good there?
We're doing better, but keeping up right now.
You guys are not. You're not in the clear like New Zealand are. Are you? You guys are.
No, I think they're doing a bit better than us, to be honest.
Yeah, New Zealand's its whole universe.
You're in Spain right now, is that right?
No, I'm in Canada.
Canada,
Yeah.
How is it over there?
It's not great. It's not great. Yeah. It's I mean, it comes in waves, and people like to paint Canada as like this great place, and it is. But we have our problems too, and we have our angry, like, anti-masks and people out in the streets and doing shit, stupid shit. So we do our best. We try to educate as best as we can, and hope that this passes soon. Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll make it. I'm sure we'll make it to Sydney at some point, brother.
Yeah. Appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. Take care, buddy.
Thank you.
All right. Just a quick glance at YouTube. Some comments in there. Some people talking about how Las Blancas podcast is great. Yeah, they had a podcast released today. It was supposed to go up last night, but because I forgot to press a button, it didn't work. Sorry, but it's up now. So go check it out. That's on patreon.com/managingmadrid. Mariano Jovic questions. Yeah, we've discussed this so much in the podcast. I don't like to repeat too many things that we say in podcasts, just because there's a lot of people who tune into all this stuff and it gets repetitive. But the too long didn't read with Mariano Jovic to me is I hope those Jovic to Wolves rumors ramp back up a little bit, because I think that's a perfect place for him, because he goes there for 6 months until Jimenez recovers next season, then he comes back out on loan. So it's better than him just sitting on the bench if he's not going to play. I hope he goes out on loan, and Mariano is probably more willing to accept that role as a backup than Jovic is. So it's fine to just keep Mariano and loan Jovic at this point. All right, so let's flip back to Instagram. There are things. Okay, there's questions here. Okay, so Dark Jedi says, when was the last time you visited the Bernabeu? Clásico 2020, 2-0. Right on cue, Mariano. It was the game where Mariano scores in like the last second. Remember, he comes on the field and he literally scores within 1 second and the game ends. That was the last game I was at the Bernabeu. And I remember being there. It was 2 back-to-back games. There was a Champions League game too, Manchester City. I was at Manchester City, and then I was at the Barcelona game a few days later, I think it was. I listen, I could be getting that part fizzy. I don't remember the exact days and what games were played, but I was at Manchester City at home and I was at Barcelona at home. And when I was there, this was late February, early March, I remember that the game possibly was not going to go ahead because the pandemic was just breaking out. So they were just playing the games in Italy behind closed doors. The first case in Spain when I was there was in Valencia, but it hadn't trickled beyond Valencia up until that point. And literally, I went to the Clásico, I got on a plane, I flew back home to Canada, and basically as I'm like over the ocean heading back home, everything shuts down in Spain. So I got really lucky I didn't get stuck in Spain, given that I have kids here. And that was it. I was at the last possible game a human being could be at, was that Barca game. I was at that game, and I miss it. Seems like an eternity ago. Really miss it. I can't wait to get back out there, but we need safety first. So let's see. There's a request to join the live video. View request. Tommy Guns is about to join the live video. Let's see how that goes. Did it work? Maybe it didn't work. All right. Well, in the meantime, let's take some more questions. Someone says, as an aspiring journalist and using you as an inspiration, what's your advice for a young journalist? So I generally don't give blanket advice because it's impossible. So what you're asking me has a lot of nuance. It's basically like asking, me to write an article about who are, I don't know, let's say like who is the third best player of all time, and like just asking for the answer, but without understanding why I chose that person and the nuance behind it, and like the few thousand words that I would like to explain to you behind it. It's a very hard question to ask. It really depends on where you are in your journey, how young you are, what you've done up until this point. What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Are you doing podcasting? Do you want to do writing? Do you want to do both? Do you want to do TV? It all matters. So it really matters. This is a part of the reason I have a journalism mentorship program and I work one-on-one with people. It's because people ask me for advice all the time and it's impossible to answer them and give them proper advice because different people need to hear different things at different times of their life. Someone who is like 5 years into their journalism career and has not done anything yet and doesn't know what to do and is giving up needs to hear something completely different than somebody who's just starting. So if you want, I would suggest you send up a follow-up question to what you just asked, and I'll try to give you a detailed answer. I could give you very blanket general advice for this question if you want, and it's basically you have to have persistence, a lot of hard work and hustle. It's a very, very noisy world, and it's a very cutthroat world, and it's very, very quick turnover, expendable people. The reason people give up on being a journalist is because I'll tell you exactly how the story goes. You might be able to relate to this. This is certainly how it almost went for me until I kind of learned to do things differently. People who want to become a sports writer, they have a job, they work somewhere, whether it's retail, whether it's in an office, whatever it is, they have a job. They have to have that job because you can't just become a journalist, so you can't afford to just sit at home all day and write and do things. So you need a job, and then outside your job, when you come home, when you're tired, you're writing, right? So when you're writing and you're tired, first of all, you have no direction. You don't know what you're supposed to be doing, who you're supposed to be talking to, what you're supposed to be writing about. After you write that thing, how do you even distribute the content? How do you even get people to see it? And that's one scenario. The other scenario, which is also very plausible, is that you're just freaking tired. You're tired. Your brain is shut down. Your creative juices aren't flowing because you've been at work all day. Whereas, if you look at my life, you'll be like, you won't be able to recognize it as a journalist, to be honest, because what I'm doing basically all day is I'm in the gym, I'm playing basketball, I'm playing football, I'm out to lunch, I'm out to coffee with my friends. That's because I do that so that I can actually be able to write. So my creative juices are flowing. My mind is not shut down. I'm constantly out there. I'm out of my head so that when I get to write, the reason I can do that is because I have a job as a journalist, which enables me to work anywhere I want with my laptop at any time I want. So that's the reason I can do it. So I'm very lucky in the sense that I can do that. And to do that, to get to where I was, it took a few years of basically doing it the other way, where I was working at a job, I had my own business, and I would come home from that and I would have to start thinking about writing. And it felt like homework and I couldn't do it. So the biggest differentiator, so if you want to get stuck in the loop that you're, get out of your 9 to 5, quote unquote, and then you come home and you watch Netflix and you go to bed and you repeat the cycle. The biggest differentiator between that and somebody who makes it is persistence is the huge one, Do something every day that is related to your goals. Do something every day that makes you want to jump out of bed and get to work and getting content out and distributing it the right way. One of my favorite Bruce Lee quotes is, and I'm massively paraphrasing it, but he says, actually, I'm going to just bring it up. So Bruce Lee says, or said, RIP, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. What does that mean? Bruce Lee doesn't feel threatened by somebody who wakes up one day, is super motivated and kicks 10,000 times in the air. He's more worried about the guy who wakes up and does one kick for 10,000 days straight, because that's persistence. That's why motivation sucks. Motivation doesn't work. It's a fleeting external stimulus. You need to be disciplined to do that every day. Persistence is the biggest one. All right, let's take a quick glance at YouTube. All right, people are just looking like they enjoy the content on YouTube. A lot of interaction coming through Instagram. All right, some people are requesting to join a live video, so I'm gonna bring them in here. View request, go live with this dude, RMCFTRAM. All right, somebody's here. Hello? He's gone. What's going on? It's either connection issues or they just see me and they just freak out. It's like, oh my God, I didn't think that he was going to accept my request. Okay, let's see. All right, I have another. Okay, somebody gonna go try doing another live request here. Just accepted someone that's connecting. Okay, this one might connect. I don't know. Again, if it's my connection issues, then I'm sorry. But if it's you guys just for some reason being like, then come on. So it's a camera. It's not, I'm not even like physically there. I'm not like poking you with a knife or something. All right, well that connects. Let's answer some questions. So how do I bring up these questions again? This guy okay. Unable to join. All right, guys, I see how it is. Okay, so let's go back to questions. All right. Landon says, what's the most backlash you've gotten from something you wrote? Oh boy. You know what? I haven't gotten any backlash in a long time. I'm unfortunately surrounded by a lot of yes men who just give me blind praise. But I remember as a whole managing Madrid, there was a whole time where Benzema was playing just bad. If you remember, like the last 2 years that Benzema played with Ronaldo, he was missing a lot of great chances. He was being scrutinized heavily. He was missing easy sitters. Now we've had like two years or so of Benzema playing at a very high level. So it seems like such a distant memory now. But in Ronaldo's 2 last years, Benzema was missing a ton of great chances. And I remember managing Madrid put out, not me, just managing Madrid, put out a video that outlined Benzema's great defensive work. And people lost their shit. They were like, striker's not supposed to defend. This is bullshit. You guys are Benzema apologists. And so that, I think that was like probably the biggest backlash we've gotten as a whole. People that's probably the most heated I can remember of. Like people were so mad at us for that. All right, so Brandon Alvarez on YouTube says, who's winning the NBA championship, Kiyan? Well, definitely not my Raptors, but I would like one of two teams. I'm obviously Luka Doncic is who we're rooting for, right? I mean, it goes without saying. But if I had to go with number two, I really would love to see Kawhi and Serge over in the Clippers. I know the Clippers are not a fan favorite. They were for a while the hipster team because everyone wanted the Lakers to fail and the other side of the coin are the Clippers. But the Clippers have become a little bit more insufferable over the past 12 months or so. So they're a bit arrogant, as people like to call them. So I'd go Dallas is my heart, and but then maybe the more realistic outcome are the Clippers. But who knows? We'll see. All right, so let's see. Oh, a lot of things coming in now. All right, okay, we're gonna try this request thing again. Let's see if this works. All right, great success.
Hey bro, love from India.
Hi man, how you doing?
Good bro. How are you doing?
I'm great. Where in India are you joining from?
I'm from Kolkata, West Bengal.
Okay, got it. Cool. So what time is it there? Like are you like 6:30, 7:30 in the morning? What are you at?
I just got out of bed. It's 8:30.
Oh, 8:30. Okay, cool. What are you up to today?
I will just joining my classes now.
Online?
Yes.
University?
No, school.
School? High school?
Yes, I am in class 12 last year. After this, I will join college.
Got it. Very good. What's on your mind today?
Just the classes, and after that, I will go to play some football after.
Okay. Any burning questions you wanted to ask?
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think Alaba is coming to Real Madrid?
Okay, I'm going to answer this. I'm going to remove you from the video because I hear an echo, and just for the listeners. But I'm going to answer. Okay. Thank you for joining. Okay.
Bye.
So the question was, especially for those on YouTube who have no idea what was going on there, do I think Alaba is joining? I would put it at less than 50%. And the reason for that is, let me just fix that. The reason for that is because I still think there are going to be barriers to meeting his salary. Again, apologize for people who have already heard me say this on podcast today. And but I think the problem with Alaba is that in a vacuum he's a really useful signing. Covers multiple positions. I think there's real situations where he should be a starter. Like be rotations aside, I think there's going to be games where if a team is pressing you like a maniac, like a manic pressing scheme, like the last two Champions League exits, there's a huge case that someone like Alaba would be more useful than someone like Ferland Mendy in those situations. Obviously, very reliable center back, very reliable defensive midfielder. There's no question. Useful player. Can he raise the call after getting paid and a new contract and stuff? We have seen examples of somebody like Alaba in the past where like they get to their late 20s, they get paid like massively, and then it's like somebody unplugs their PS4 controller and they just stop being good. there's examples of this, even in recent history. I'm not saying that will happen with Alaba, but it's at least something to consider. My issue with Alaba right now is that he turned down a Bayern contract basically because he wants to get paid. I mean, it's not an issue of playing time. He's playing at Bayern. Real Madrid are not in a huge financial situation to just swoop in and just start paying him, because also his agent wants to get paid too. So I don't see it as that straightforward. That for that reason, I put it as a little bit less than 50%. But hey, it's still it's plausible. But there are barriers. There's a financial barrier to every single player that Real Madrid are interested in. Bottom line, Mbappe included. All right, let's see what's going on here. Cool. This is flowing nicely, I think, apart from like the first 3 or 5 minutes of this, because I wasn't set up properly. All right. Questions about Vinicius, Rodrigo, Renier, who will be the best player. It's such a like almost everyday question that I won't take it. Let's see. Oh, this is an interesting one. David says, who would you rather have back on the team in their prime, Raul or Casius? Raul. For this team, Raul. I mean, basically, for any team, it's usually Raul. Obviously, there are exceptions to that. But given that right now Courtois is playing at a high level and Real Madrid's offense is struggling, it's definitely Raul. And I would love to see what Raul and Benzema together would look like. Raul has had one of his best goal-scoring seasons ever on the left wing, in front, like on the left side of 2 strikers. But also, he's always been a shadow striker. The thing is, so is Benzema. But I think the synergy between those two would be really cool. But my answer to this is Raul. I think there's going to be another request for a video. Let's try this one. I think I'll do a couple more. Hey! Yay! There you go. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Good.
Just bounce. I don't. Okay. No, I'm sure that was the button pressed by accident. That's the only explanation. All right. There's another request here. I'm gonna bring someone different in. All right, we're connecting to this guy. We've tried connecting to this guy before, but he just, I don't know what happened. Might as well take some. Okay, there's a couple questions on YouTube, a couple questions on Instagram. Take this one on Instagram. Elliot says, what happens with Bale at the end of the season? Good question. I have no idea. It's a great question. I don't think Tottenham are going to want him back at the end of the summer. I really don't. There's no reason why. So that's a great question. I think we might be in a similar situation as when we were last summer. And that's unideal, obviously. So that could mean, I know it's kind of, when Bale initially went to, and that live video that request didn't work, so give up on that. So the issue initially is when Real Madrid first then went on loan to Tottenham, everyone, including myself, was like, this is great. Bale homecoming. As if there's anyone who doesn't tolerate mediocrity and laziness, it's Jose Mourinho. He's going back home. That's got to light a fire on him, back in his comfort zone. And Tottenham fans are getting the same experience that Real Madrid fans had with Bale the last couple of years. So I don't think they're going to be eager to keep him. Maybe Bale really, really pushes for it. Who knows? But or maybe I don't know what happens. But I don't think this issue is resolved. I think there's a very real scenario where he comes back to Real Madrid and he just sits on the bench. It's very possible. Okay, so let's see. Willie Zeno says, do you think Kubo will stay at Villarreal for the rest of the season? I don't. I think he'll be at Getafe very soon. I think it's imminent. I think it's going to happen before this transfer window closes. And if you want my thoughts on Kubo on Instagram, I literally maybe an hour or two ago, I posted my thoughts in a video. It's a clip from Churros y Táticas podcast where Diego and I were talking about Kubo, and all my thoughts about Kubo, what went wrong with him at Villarreal, the timeline, the oral history, and how he might fit at Getafe, if he should go there or not. That's all on the latest Instagram video that I uploaded about an hour or two ago. All right, so I'm gonna take let's see, one or two more. Rafiq says, what do you think is the future of Real Madrid squad-wise? Who knows? I don't like predictions. I mentioned in the podcast today that I was reflecting. So 3 years ago on my mailbag, I predicted Real Madrid starting lineup in 2022. And it's already so wrong, even though we're not in 22. It had De Gea, it had Ceballos, I think it had Llorente, it had Teo Hernandez, it had somebody else. I forget who it was, but it was not accurate. And this is the thing, I'm fine with that. It's just nobody can predict these things. Nobody can predict what happens a week from now, let alone what happens in the future. Okay, so favorite away third kit of the last decade. I actually answered about what was my favorite Real Madrid jersey ever in the last live video I think we did. But if it's of the last decade specifically, it probably is the purple from the one we beat Juve in the final, the Champions League, that one. All right, I'm gonna take one more attempt at a live request. Tommy Guns, go live with Tommy Guns and see what happens. Oh yeah, Kovacic. People are reminding me Kovacic was the other one I had there. Yeah, I really like Kovacic, man. That one I'm sad. We missed the Kovacic train. I'm not too upset about Teo Hernandez and others, but so this now somebody just declined the live video. If you're gonna decline it, why are you requesting the live video? Some people are asking about Odegaard too. I'm not too worried about Odegaard. I think Zidane really believes in Odegaard. I think that was clear from the beginning. I think that's clear from what he said, but also the way he brought him into the team right away. I can't necessarily explain why he hasn't played the last couple games, but I'm not too worried about it. I think he'll be fine. Brajeshwar Thakur on YouTube says, is Kylian Mbappe even possible this coming summer? I would wager no. I don't think so. Absolutely last attempt at accepting your request. This is it. Now or never. View requests. Go live. By the way, if you guys want to ask any questions about anything outside of football, that's cool too. I just realized we've been on for 40 minutes or so. That's a lot longer than I honestly thought I was going to do 10 minutes or so and then get back to work. Now I don't know if I feel like getting back to work after this. We'll see. Yeah, if you guys want to ask questions outside of football, whether it's journalism advice and stuff, I'm happy to do that. It's just that actually this platform was probably better than answering emails or Twitter, because it's very easy for me to verbalize things in 10 to 20 seconds than it is to type out emails. So. All right, that didn't work. I tried. I did my best. Last question is, do you play football in real life? If so, what position? I stopped playing competitively about 3 years ago when my first son was born, just because I wanted to the thing with playing football here is obviously I'm not a professional, I'm not getting paid for it. And that's fine. Yeah, I love it so much. I would even pay to play football, so it's not a big deal. But a lot of the games were late night or Sunday night, and at the time, I might get back into it when I get to the senior level. I'm talking about over 35 leagues. I might actually go get back into it, because I love playing pickup. But I basically played until I was the age of 30, and then I stopped. What position I am? I played multiple positions, but I started off as a shadow forward, just in between behind the striker, and then for years my manager had me kind of in like a diamond role, a 10 role, which was ideal because I didn't have to defend much. I could just basically stay as an outlet and pass. But really, like for the majority of my 20s, I was an inverted left winger. I love dribbling. I love cutting in. I love just going down to the byline, couple step overs and get across, and that was my game. And then when I was like turning 29, I started to fall in love with the defensive midfield position, mostly because I played there once because of necessity, and I was like, holy shit, this is really fun. And I think part of the reason I liked it so much was because you can kind of see, like for me, like I started to really get into tactics later. Like I didn't really know anything about tactics until I was like late in my 20s and really 30 and on. But then when you get really interested in tactics, the defensive midfield position becomes really interesting because you can kind of see everything. It's like you become the guy from Thor who like he like holds the staff and he like lets Thor in and like beams them up from different universes. What Idris Elba, you become Idris Elba basically, because you can kind of see everything and you just know everything and you get to organize everything. You can get to like, hey, go here, go there, run back, slide over to the left. So I really like that position. So if I were to do it again, I would maybe like try to take up that mantle or something. We'll see. All right, I'm out of here, guys, because I gotta go. I'm sorry that the live videos didn't exactly work. So maybe next time it might go better. I don't know. Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. Last one, just a logistics thing. Traumbach on YouTube is asking, do you go live at this time every day? It won't be every day. I do have a life, despite what it looks like. Like tomorrow night, I have plans, so I'm not going to do this. But I'm going to be, if I go live, it's going to be around this time because it's like kind of at the end of the day, and it kind of right now with my schedule, it kind of works to just go at this time. So I'm going to be doing this a lot. Yeah. I'm planning on doing this as much as I can. Probably not on like Friday, Saturday nights and stuff, but on weekday nights, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I don't know what the sweet spot is. I think people in India, because we have a lot of population in India, it's really early morning for them, and I don't know, the people on the West Coast might still be at work or having dinner. So I don't know if this is the sweet spot, but this works for me. So I'm gonna just do that. So if people want to catch me, or if they want to just throw it on the background when they're eating dinner and stuff, it's gonna be around this time. Yeah, so I guess if you like YouTube, try to be around online on YouTube at around this time. If you like phones and Instagram, try to be on your phone around this time. And yeah, and keep it locked on Managing Madrid in the interim. Lots of content, lots of podcasts and stuff. Someone from Bermuda, hey, what's up? I love Bermuda. I actually have family there, and I've been there, and it's one of my favorite places in the world. So stay safe in Bermuda. Hope you're doing well. It's one of the greatest places on earth. And yeah, take care, guys. Thank you so much. If you have anything specific you want to contact me with, Kiyan at kiyansobhani.com. I am closing my mentorship program probably this springtime. I haven't really announced that apart from right now, mostly because it's too much on me right now. So if you want to take advantage of that, you have literally like 1 or 2 months to do that. After that, I'm probably hanging it up and just focusing on writing books and growing content and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm signing off now. Follow me on Twitter at Kiyan So, and we'll chat soon. Hala Madrid. Oh yeah, I have YouTube live still too. I'm gonna shut that down. End stream. Thanks guys. Take care. Appreciate you. Hala Madrid.